Alright, so I just went live. I talked about this fight in my live stream, but unfortunately, the first half of my live, including the Sandhagen versus Figueiredo segment, was muffled because unfortunately my Bluetooth was connected and my earbuds were connected, so it ruined the audio. So I gotta actually do a cleaner video individual on this fight, because I don't know, that just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm very pissed off right now, feeling a little bit on edge to start this video, but I'm just gonna do over again. So we got Cory Sandhagen versus Deivison Figueiredo going down this Saturday night. Both men coming off losses. Cory Sandhagen coming off a loss to Umar Nurmagomedov, and Deivison Figueiredo is coming off his first and only loss in the bantamweight division to Piotr No Mercy Yan. No shame in that. We know Yan is on his comeback arc right now, so it was expected. I even picked Peter Yan to win that fight against Deivison Figueiredo. And I think I might have picked a decision, or no, it was a late round TKO, I believe. Didn't happen. It ended up being a decision win for Peter Yan. But, I did actually pick Figgy to win pretty much all of his bantamweight fights. And before the Peter Yan loss, this guy has been on an absolute tear, dominating Rob Font, going out there, taking down and submitting Cody Garbrandt. And I mean, who does that to Cody? Cody usually loses by getting knocked out, by getting chinned. Garbrandt's a very good wrestler. You don't just take him down like that. And if you do, Cody's very good at just popping back to his feet. Figgy took him down, held him down, subbed him. So very impressive. Not really that he beat Cody, but how he beat Cody. And then also the Cheeto Vera fight. I thought he kind of won that fight against Cheeto more impressively than Sandhagen did. And the first and only man to ever drop Cheeto Vera. So, yeah, this guy, Figgy, has otherworldly power. And his power from flyweight translated beautifully into the men's bantamweight division. But Cory Sandhagen, he's good. Cory Sandhagen is one of the best strikers in the men's bantamweight division. Very tricky, difficult guy to fight. Tall, rangy, good footwork. He's got a massive height advantage over Deivison Figueiredo. 5'11 to Deivison Figueiredo's 5'5. 6-inch height advantage. 2-inch reach advantage. So his reach in arm length isn't that much, but he's got longer leg reach. I believe that. And Figgy's more plodding with his style. He doesn't really have great footwork. Whereas Cory's very elusive, very good, light on his feet, and he'll switch stances a lot. Figgy's a pot shotter, and Cory Sandhagen's more of a volume striker, more of a combination guy. But the odds of this fight, they're cooked, man. I don't think that Cory Sandhagen should be a minus 500 favorite. And I don't think Deivison should be a plus 380 underdog. I think the odds in this matchup are way closer. And I know a lot of people are picking Cory to win. But the people who are going with Cory, what they're not factoring in this fight is literally Cory Sandhagen is a choker. And what I mean by that is he always chokes in big fights. I don't think he's ever beaten a former UFC champion. Okay? Well, actually, no, I take that back. This is where I got wrong in my live stream. So in this second chance, I'm going to correct myself. He's beaten one former champion. Every other champ in the UFC he's fought, he lost to. So let me just count. One over Frankie, that's his one. And then got another chance against TJ, Jan, and Sterling. That was before the Frankie fight, though. So I think he's only fought 3 champions since then. So I think he's 1-3 against former UFC champion. So I don't want to say he's not capable of beating a UFC champion or a former UFC champion, but these are the kind of fights that Cory Sandhagen will kind of fumble. It's always the big one. Now, some might argue that, he beat TJ Dillashaw. It was a split decision. A lot of people protest that decision. Me personally, I thought TJ won, but I'm biased. I mean, I did pick Cory to win the fight the way he did. I don't really think it was a robbery. If they gave it to Cory, I don't think it would have been a robbery. But he had the advantage in that fight of being more active. and fighting a past prime TJ Dillashaw coming off a 2.5 year layoff. And TJ was injured in that fight. Cory couldn't dominate him and struggled. He folded against Peter Yan when it really counted. And who's the other champ he fought? Oh yeah, Aljamain Sterling ran through him in the first round with ease. He beat Frankie, but by that point, man, Frankie was so done, so out of it. His chin was just gone. Poof. Any former champion of any good quality that you put in front of him, he struggles with. I mean, TJ by that point was washed, but not Frankie level washed. He was still somewhat competitive as a top bantamweight. I do think Cory would probably beat Cejudo. No, he would definitely beat Cejudo if he was matched up with Henry. Never mind. He would totally beat him. But someone like a Yan or Aljo who are in their primes, they clearly and decisively beat Cory Sandhagen. And Deivison Figueiredo, he might be old, but he's not washed old. He's not wow. I just mentioned their reach. So Cory's leg reach isn't even that much longer than Figgy's. That's insane. 2-inch reach in his legs and arms. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Deivison Figueiredo is old, but again, he's not washed old. He's an experienced veteran, and he's had a chance to start over at bantamweight. And at bantamweight, he's like the prime version of himself at flyweight before the weight cuts really started to get to him. So I do think, win or lose, Cory Sandhagen has a tough fight on his hands. And one thing people don't realize, too, is Cory Sandhagen shoots takedowns a lot in his fights. And Deivison Figueiredo is a huge grappling threat. His jiu-jitsu is very good. And I could see Cory Sandhagen shooting for a desperate or panic takedown, because a lot of his takedowns do kind of come out of desperation or panic. When you start to pressure him, when you start to land on him, he'll shoot takedowns. And Deivison Figueiredo could catch him in a scramble. He could catch him in a guillotine or a darce or even an armbar. Deivison off his back is a threat. On the feet, Deivison is dangerous for Cory. I meant to say on the ground, but yeah, on the feet, he's dangerous for Cory because of his power. But on the ground, he is a massive threat. I don't think Cory's really safe anywhere this fight goes. I feel like Figgy has less danger to worry about in this fight compared to Cory Sandhagen. And Cory may have a 6-inch height advantage, but we can't forget that John Lineker fight. I know it was like ages ago and Cory's improved, but it still has to count for something. The last short, stocky, powerful Brazilian Cory faced, he had a lot of issues against that guy, John Lineker. Lineker was able to get on the inside in moments. He was able to tag Cory. He was able to do damage to Cory Sandhagen. And towards the end of the fight, he tagged Cory badly, bloodied him up. Cory shot for a bad takedown, almost got guillotined by John Lineker. If Lineker had more time, he might have finished the fight with that submission. And if it was a 5-rounder, I think Lineker may have beaten Sandhagen. So in this fight, it's a 5-round fight. Figgy has time on his side. He doesn't have cardio issues. He's got very good cardio. He might struggle in the early rounds, but I could just see Deivison Figueiredo actually getting better as the fight goes on. And I think Peter Yan is better than Cory Sandhagen, even to this day, even 3 years later from that fight they had back then. Peter Yan is just better than Cory, and I don't think Cory's going to be able to present the problems that Yan did. Yan was able to effectively get takedowns, but without running into subs, because I don't think he stayed with Figgy on the ground for too long, and he didn't shoot for like traditional doubles or singles. He would like get clinch trips, so Figgy wasn't able to catch him in like a gilly or a darce. Whereas Cory, the kind of takedowns he goes for, they're not clinch trips or sweeps. They're literally double legs or single legs. Those are the kind of takedowns that Cory Sandhagen goes for, and that could get him in trouble. So again, on paper, this is a close fight. The odds should be closer, but I'm in the minority here. I think I'm going to go with Deivison Figueiredo to beat Cory Sandhagen. I've just seen this too many times where Cory gets uncomfortable on the feet when you pressure him, when you present power. I mean, even that Song Yadong fight was telling. And I understand that he beat Song clearly and he finished him. It was a doctor stoppage, but in that opening round, Song Yadong made Cory very uncomfortable, stunned him early on, and I think without the cut from those elbows that changed the fight in Cory's favor, Yadong might have actually won that fight against Cory Sandhagen. I'm not going to lie. And that Font fight, Font made him very uncomfortable on the feet with his boxing. When he was able to get inside, get in the pocket, he was able to tag Cory, and Cory had to switch gears and wrestle in that fight, which, Cory showed he's a well-rounded fighter. He can mix the martial arts when he has to. But Font is not good on the ground like Deivison Figueiredo, okay? And Figueiredo is better than Song Yadong. So if Figgy makes Cory uncomfortable on the feet, which I do think at some point he will be able to get on the inside like Lineker was able to. He will be able to put hands on Cory like Lineker, like Font, like Song, like Jan was able to. Right? He will be able to. But when that happens, if Cory Sandhagen decides I'm getting uncomfortable on the feet and decides I'm going to shoot a takedown, he's putting himself at risk of getting submitted. So this might be bold. I might go with Deivison Figueiredo by sub. And another thing I could see him doing in this fight is ripping to the body of Cory. That might be part of his mid-fight adjustment. I think Cory will have a strong first and second round where he will keep the distance from Deivison Figueiredo. Deivison might struggle to get Cory's timing. Cory might be able to frustrate him with his elusiveness, with his footwork. But eventually, I think Figgy's going to discover I can rip to the body. I think Figgy's just going to at some point be like, I got to go for it. And again, you can get in on Cory. You can hit him. Cory does get hit, and he does take damage. And also, Yuri Alcantara, I think that was Cory's UFC debut. He fucked Cory Sandhagen up early in that fight, dropped him in round 1, and almost subbed him. Now, Cory being tough was able to, he was able to weather the early storm, wear Alcantara out, and punish him for it later and finish him. But someone to the level of Figgy might better be able to capitalize on that moment and be able to put Cory Sandhagen away. So I'm going to say Figgy by sub when he starts making Cory uncomfortable on the feet and Cory shoots a bad takedown, or Deivison will just win a decision. It'll be very competitive, though. Like, Cory will definitely land more volume. He'll have higher numbers on the stats or whatever. But Figgy's just going to do more damage, and he might have like a fight-changing knockdown or something somewhere in the mid to late rounds to win him the fight. I think he'll win this fight just based off damage if it's a decision, or he'll finish him by sub. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I could easily be wrong. This could be the second former champion that Cory Sandhagen could beat, and maybe Figgy's age will be a factor in this fight. Who knows? I'm not counting out Cory. Cory arguably should win this fight, and maybe I'll be wrong for going against Cory, but I just can't help but think that Figgy has the advantage in this fight. But like and subscribe, and peace out.